Hi, it's Sharon from Grace's neighbor Sharon. I hope you enjoy the video. Project number 1. Blessed board. We have the Dollar Tree burlap and lace ribbon, Dollar Tree jot glue sticks, and the Dollar Tree 2022 farmhouse calendar. I chose the Blessed. I think it's the April month. I liked the colors, and I didn't even realize it was yellow hearts in scale, which makes it even cuter. So there's a few different ways you can affix the paper to this cutting board shaped sign. I'm using the glue sticks. I make sure to get the edges and the corners first, and then I fill it in. It'll stay damp for a little bit if you need to reposition it, which I do. But after 2 or 3 times, I notice the glue starting to dry. See, there's the first time. But I'll do it a few times. But then I notice the glue starting to dry, and I'm like, okay, I need to hurry up and be happy with this, because I don't feel like redoing the glue. And I just use my hand and also a little bit of paper towel to rub down the paper, make sure there was no wrinkles or bubbles or anything. Then I took some sandpaper and just did all the edges and make it look like it was meant to be there. And then I chose to paint in the top of the cutting board sign, even though it wasn't the same color as the paper. It was close, and I do go in before the final reveal and distress it a little bit to make it look closer in color to the paper. All right, I actually dried that with my heat gun. It only took a couple minutes. Now I chose some nice bright green boxwood, these pretty yellow flowers, and then I decide I need a little bit more, and I spied some white, I think it was dogwood. And so I snagged that up. So basically 2 sprigs, 2 branches of each, 2 of the dogwood, 2 of the white, and 2 of the yellow. Pretty easy embellishment here. Once I have it close enough together, I'm taking some floral wire. I just trimmed off, hang on, get that back in there. I just trimmed off just a length of floral wire and wrapped it around the middle. And then I decided I was going to use a length of this jute rope to tie it onto the board sign, cutting board sign. And so I just did one of those little loop knots, or however you want to call it, lark's head knot. And then I glued it on the back. You notice I had to take off the life word there to get it glued. And also at some point there, actually right now, you'll notice there's a rope on the border because it was too plain for me. And I kept cutting out the part where I do the rope. And after the 3rd try, I was just like, ugh, I'll just talk about it. So this is me talking about it. And it was pretty easy. I just did hot glue and did it in small pieces until I was all the way around. And now I'm using the burlap and lace ribbon. I made the awareness shape, scrunched it together. Now I'm tying it, wrapping the twine around a few times, tying it in the back, tying it nice and tight, and also put a length of leftover ribbon in the middle to cover up the twine. And I really like it like that. And I used to do it a lot, and not so much lately, but Tammy from Happiness Created does it a lot too. And it looks great. So here I'm just kind of judging the embellishments here. I'm going to glue down a few pieces of the leaves and stuff, and then bend it so it cascades over the edges, and got that rope on top there for embellishment as well as to hang it up, and you'll get a better look during the final reveal. Project number 2. Just keep breathing. Love that saying. This is a Chuckature craft using Dollar Tree bamboo cutting board and the dry erase easel there. This is the most recent Chuckature. And when I saw the saying, I knew I just had to use it right away. But I did want to show you these. I purchased a bundle of stencils off of eBay. I paid about $40 and got 20 stencils. I didn't get any packets or ink or anything, but oh my gosh, what a deal. I just had to go for it. So just keep breathing. It's going to be on the top, so top and center, because I want it to be like the focal point. I mean, when life gets to be too much for you, you just breathe, right? You just breathe. So just keep breathing. So it took me a while here. I'm honestly just going through all the packets that I saved and trying to figure out, what to use where. Chuckature gave me 3 colors, but no green, and there were leaves, and I really wanted the leaves to be green. So I started going through my little stash of saved packets. I needed them all, made sure they were all good to go, that they weren't too thick. And then took a deep breath and dove in. So first things first, we have to take the plastic off the cutting board. And then I grab my white wax and I just start with the thick coat and just keep rubbing. And I sort of rub it all over, like I don't concentrate on one spot at a time. Like I go over it, and then I go over it again and go over it again until I'm happy. Now, the best way to get the words on the top of the cutting board is to trim them off. Even though they weren't meant to be trimmed off, it's the only way I could think of to just get it on there and have it be easy and have it be clean. So I ran my finger over just where the words are. I didn't try and stick down the whole thing. I invested in 2 tubs of Chuckature paste, a black and a white, and then the rest of everything I use is in the packets. And oh my goodness, I just ran over this a couple times with the little mini squeegee, and look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay. Now, don't let the fact that your blank or your piece of wood or sign or whatever is not the same size as the stencil, because you can just sort of play around with it. And this is how I decided I wanted mine to be. And I went ahead and taped it. And that's just so I wouldn't rub the paste over some of the other spots that were pretty darn close to where I did want to rub the paste. So I chose pesto for the leaves, and I actually saved it from a previous Chuckature package. The color I use for the stems is camel. I don't remember what I finally chose for the flowers. Here I am. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta lift this up. I can't wait I can't let the paste dry in the stencil. And also, it gives me a good idea of how the stencil and the paste are reacting. And I know, do I want it thicker? Do I want it thinner? That sort of thing. So there's this pretty color. It's one of the colors they gave me. I just can't think of the name of it. And then I was like, that's actually a little butterfly there. It's hard to see. But I'm like, I want the butterfly to be a different color. And I saved some teal, but then I was like, I could not get it out. And I played with it, and I rubbed at it and squeezed it, and finally got the smallest little piece out that I was able to rub over the butterfly. And there's the reveal. The pesto came out kind of dark. If I had to do it again, I wouldn't rub so much in there. I went ahead and rinsed out the stencils and then came back and sprayed that cutting board with that spray that I showed you. And then I'm just going to glue these together. This is sort of like a dry erase easel, and I put some wood glue and some super glue on it. And then I adhered them together, and then I sort of played around with the placement because it was crooked on the back there for a second. So the nice thing about wood glue and super glue is you can move it around a little bit before it starts sticking for good. So that looks good, yeah. And I have my laundry clips here. And you guys are going to get a better look at this during the final reveal. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Project number 3. Home. We're going to make this little wall hanging using Dollar Tree vinyl, a little Dollar Tree bouquet, Dollar Tree home sign, and a Dollar Tree Valentine wall hanging. So to start things up, we're going to prepare the back for painting. We remove the sticker and sand it and slather on some white chalk paint. And you can use the front or back. I almost always use the back, but something happens in this project that I'll show you in just a second. So the green was way too green, way too dark. So I want to say that's oatmeal. And I did a nice coat to cover up that green, even though I was going to put flowers on top. So this is where it goes kind of haywire for me. I thought I was going to cover the homeward in vinyl and burn off the vinyl or sand it maybe. But burning doesn't work, and it wasn't sticking on really good, and no way was I cutting all around all the letters. So plan B. Plan B is to put the vinyl on the circle. So now I have a nice painted side of the wall hanging, and I put the vinyl to cover that Valentine sentiment. So since we're going to do that, I decided to get a layer of chalk paint on the rest of the homeward because it looks kind of cheapy with that plasticky, shiny paint they have on there. So got a good coat on there, and I took my time and made sure it wasn't like all gunky in between stuff, because that does happen sometimes. Now I'm being weird with the glue again. If you've seen some of my previous projects, I get really weird about the glue, and this homeward was kind of heavy because I think it's made to stand on its own. So I did use 2 glues, super glue and hot glue, and made sure it was on there good. Then I took the little Dollar Tree bouquet and I cut it as close to the top as I could without it falling apart. Oh, I believe there's 3. So I think there was 4 little bits to it, like 3 flowers and a leaf. I forget, actually. I'm sorry. But yeah, I left some leaves on there to make it a little scrunched up bouquet. And now that I see it in the final reveal, I'm probably going to trim some of the yellow flower there. But I did not. I just like the look of the whole bouquet being on there. But it does cover up a lot of the letter M. But I digress. So taking my time here, making sure those flowers are on there nicely, and there's the awareness shape. And I think I used a zip tie. Awareness shape, scrunched it, zip tied it, trimmed it off the roll, tightened up the zip tie. And I put these little teeny tiny leaves off of this small little one of those waxy little plasticky roses that I really, really like them in bouquets and stuff. So I decided to separate the leaves from the flower and make it the center of the bow. Now the tails are way too long. I left them long because I wanted to see how they looked. Because I knew I had a lot more room than usual. but I chose to trim them up a little bit. And here I am being weird with the glue again. I don't know why, it's just a bow, but I put super glue in the middle and hot glue on either side. And it's not going anywhere. And then I couldn't really decide what to do for the backing. I hate to do just a tiny little string with hot glue, so here I am being weird with the glue again. I do a not hot glue and then more hot glue and put a ribbon on top. And I do the same for both sides. And then trim the jute. And then it'll hang and you won't be able to see the hanging cord. And better look at the final reveal.